Police and young black men have a huge PR problem. Their problems seem to mirror one another. It's almost as if the two have the same PR firm representing them. The actions of a few young black men has tarnished the entire brand. If young black men were a stock, that stock would be a definite loser. Same goes for the police. If the reputation of the police were a stock, it would be plummeting right now. So why is the reputation of these two groups in the gutter? We all know that not all young black men or all cops are evil. We can consider that both groups have a number of bad actors or guys who simply are making poor choices. We can consider that each group has a lot of negative media coverage. We can consider that there are evil people in each group who simply cannot help themselves. We can consider that racism has had a huge impact on America in general, which impacts both groups tremendously. You could consider any number of those things to be the problem. But if you're being honest with yourself, you would simply consider culture. So here's the logic. Young black men have been seen in the news being shot and killed by the police. Usually it's during a police stop when a young black man and an officer may run into some friction that has the potential to lead to these types of shootings. In several high-profile cases, we've seen young black males sadly lose their lives due to this type of altercation. It's for that reason that many folks have decided to have the talk with their kids.
When a police officer says something to you, you're black. You can't be looking at them saying, oh, I don't know, why don't you tell me? Well, that right there is giving them the license to pull you out of your car and physically harm you, because it will be done.
My guess is that they believe that these altercations are happening so frequently that a scary talk about the police is mandatory.
What's wrong, baby?
However, when the fact-checking website PolitiFact checked Milwaukee Police Chief Edward Flynn's statement where he said,
2012, there were 12,197,000 arrests in the United States.
Woo.
Okay? And there were 410 uses of deadly force. Now that is, I think, 0.003%, 3,000th of a percent. All right? So it's still an extraordinarily rare event, an extraordinarily scrutinized event, and one for which, as much training as we do, we cannot prepare people for every conceivable eventuality.
The site found this statement to be mostly true, which means that deadly force is used in like 1 in every 29,000 arrests. Chances are extremely low that you will ever be shot by an officer, especially if you're a law-abiding citizen, as most of the victims of these shootings have some sort of criminal record, or at the very least they live in a crime-infested community. Larry Elder pointed out that blacks are more likely to be struck by lightning than to be shot by the police. So what gives? Consider this. It's obvious that the people who think it necessary to have the talk have come to a conclusion about the police that makes them have some amount of fear. They think it could be possible that any police officer could be racist or at least be more likely to shoot young black men. So all police get stereotyped based on the actions of a small few. Stay with me on the logic of this here. Some blacks have complained about the police shooting young black males out of fear. They'd like for the police to not stereotype black men or fear them. Police, having had to deal with a few bad apples who happen to be black, should not profile young black men, or so the argument goes. So let's get this straight. Young black males who are 18 times more likely to shoot the police than the police are to shoot them, who have homicide listed as their #1 cause of death, mostly due to other young black males, who have the highest rates of violent crime of any other race in that age demographic, should not be stereotyped or profiled? But then it's okay for people to teach their kids how to fear and profile the police?
I don't want him to be shot. I don't want him to go to jail.
And young black males are over 30 times more likely to be killed by other black males than by the police. Perhaps we should see more videos teaching our young men how to deal with one another. That brings me to my next point. While police don't do themselves any favors by being quick to pull the trigger in situations like in the Philando Castile shooting.
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
And sometimes in other shootings. Yeah, they shoot them too. The police, for the most part, at least seem to be trying to protect the innocent people from violent offenders. That's their job. They sign up to protect people. Black males, on the other hand, have seemed to embrace a culture of violence that inevitably leads to more police interactions. The tough talk in hip-hop shows us just how mainstream that violent culture has gotten. And the unfortunate part is that the culture is extremely popular, not only with the most violent youth, but it's also popular with the good school kids who may decide to dress, act, and even engage in some of the more non-violent activities that happen to be a part of said culture. So how do you tell the difference between a violent offender and a high school student when the two talk, walk, dress, and have the same tattoos on their necks and the same hairstyles? It's not easy when the good guys are appropriating the culture of the bad guys. So you have high school kids and real live gangsters looking exactly the same, not due to their skin color, but due to a shared culture which includes patterns of speech and attitudes. Having a lack of respect for authority figures is also a part of this. Now, the police have to deal with the worst of these young men on a daily basis. Criminals attacking police is not a rarity.
I'm gonna tase you. I'm not playing with you. Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. Shots fired! This match I'm in! This ain't gonna stop I'm in!
So while some may think that the police and their reactions are over the top, there's actually a reason why they react that way. They simply want to make it home. They don't want to have to escalate situations to violence because it could cost them their jobs and their ability to walk the streets safely after being labeled a racist cop. It's important to realize that young black men and police have a weird relationship. The police in many cities wouldn't have jobs if young black men were to simply stop engaging in criminal activities. For that reason, it's young black men who have the most power to end police interactions by simply eliminating crime from their communities. But since they haven't, both groups will continue creating negative headlines that earn the both of them a lot of bad press and a bad reputation. We should consider seeing things for what they are. A big mess. And the solution? Consider culture. Appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, comment, and share.